Guys, very important subject. How much Bitcoin are America planning to accumulate? Are they planning to accumulate this year? How much are they going to buy? Because it's very important to know how much they're going to buy, when they're going to buy. Is it going to be quarterly? Is it going to be yearly? How much is it in total? Because that's going to help us understand how high Bitcoin can go if it does get approved, right? Now, this is very important. Cynthia Loomis said a couple of things here that I think there is some psychology we can look at. So let's just have a quick listen to her interview and see what she says.
24, because the most important thing for a lot of people is establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. On the other hand, though, some people say, why would we need such a thing?
Well, first of all, Charles, I want to compliment you on your newest book. I read it, I loved it, and I recommend it to everybody.
Thank you.
And among the things you raised, Charles, in your book is the importance of having diversified assets, the importance of having some things that are long-term store of value. And Bitcoin is certainly that. So why Bitcoin would make sense as part of our strategic reserves is that we recognize other long-term stores of value and put them in strategic reserve. We have a gold strategic reserve. We have an oil strategic reserve. I think it is fitting that Bitcoin, now that is really digital gold, be included among our reserve assets. So I'm proposing in the Bitcoin Act that we purchase roughly 200,000 Bitcoin a year just by converting money we already have into Bitcoin and hold them for 20 years. If we did that with, say, 5% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist, which is roughly 1 million Bitcoin, we could cut our debt in half in 20 years. And in the meantime...
Okay, so she said a couple of things there that are very important we can work out. So the first thing she said is that we would be interested in purchasing 200,000 Bitcoin, okay? So 200, 1, 2, 3, 200,000. And they said over the course of a year, and the current price of BTC is around 103,000. So let's times that by 103,000. And that gives us 20 billion, right? So they're looking at buying, I think it was probably around 100K when she's done that interview. So they're looking at buying around $20 billion. This was a little bit underwhelming for me because Michael Saylor has just spent 28 billion, or I say Michael Saylor, his company MicroStrategy, have just spent 28 billion in the last 2 years, and he continues to buy more and more. So considering it's the United States of America, they're still buying only just a little bit more than a private company are. It's a little bit underwhelming, those figures, okay? Now, secondly, the second thing I want to talk about is that she said we're aiming to buy 20 billion, okay? So this obviously has to get approved through the courts. It's going to be a long process. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's not going to be a weekly or monthly thing. This is going to take many months to get approved and rolled out. There's going to be lots of pros and discussions and cons and, you know, a lot of people weighing it up, okay? This is the figure that she's going in with, 20 billion. Now, if you're pitching something, you're trying to get the most, right? We know a lot of these people are holding a lot of Bitcoin. They're going in with the high estimate, which will probably get knocked back, okay? So it might get knocked down to 10 billion, it might get knocked down to 5 billion. Some people might say, hey, why don't we see how it goes? Why don't we buy 5 billion and see if it doubles? And if it doubles, we buy more. Because a lot of investors do work like that, guys. They're not degenerate like us and just gamble and try and hope it's the bottom. A lot of people buy, and as the asset goes up, they buy more, and they buy more, especially governments, because it shows stability, right? And it shows increase. So this 20 billion might even be 5 billion, it might be 10 billion. It's unlikely that it's going to be 40 billion and they go ahead with this 20 billion, right? She sat down and thought about this clearly for a long time. She's a very smart woman and she's thought about this for a long time. And I think this is probably their high end, and there's going to be some negotiations and they'll probably get 5 or 10 billion approval. Now, if everyone is expecting 20 billion and it comes out that the USA is going to buy 5 billion, first of all, that's going to be max FUD across the markets, okay? This would say, the government or you know, the establishment weren't confident in Bitcoin. They thought there were some risks and they didn't want to go the full 20 billion. They wanted to go 5 billion. It might be 10 billion, that would still be FUD. If they get the full 20 billion, it's good. I just think that everybody was expecting a lot more money to come in than 20 billion, so it's slightly underwhelming. Also, she said per year. Okay, so it sounded to me like they were going to do this every year. There was no mentions of, quarter. Maybe they're going to do it quarterly. Maybe they're going to do it monthly. Now, where are we going to be in 6 months' time? Where are we going to be in 7 months' time? Towards the end of the bull run. Now, these guys aren't stupid. They know how the market works, right? They know we go into a bear market. They know we go into a bull run. They know Bitcoin is volatile. Everybody knows Bitcoin is extremely volatile, right? It goes through these market cycles. It crashes by 70%, 80%, has a massive rally to the upside. They're not stupid, guys, right? And they know that Bitcoin was 16,000. They know that it's now 104,000. They know that it's not at a discount. Is it at the top? Who knows? Nobody knows. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's going to 250, it's going to 300,000. Okay. But it's not nowhere near the prices it was at, right? 16,000 it was at, guys. I think we got in around 23, and it's at 104. It's absolutely insane. And it's likely it's going to crash, especially if we don't see a reserve. If you've watched my previous videos about the market sentiment, you can see that we are running out of steam. Everyone's waiting for this one last pump, what are they waiting for, guys? They're waiting for one more pump so they can take some profits off the table and dump and sell. They're hoping that retail flood in to buy their bags off them so that they can take profits and dump, okay? It's getting very degenerate. It's getting very frothy. We've got over 3 million tokens in the space. Like last cycle, there was 3,000. I don't think the USA is stupid enough to start buying Bitcoin up here. Now, don't forget, Donald Trump is in office for a very long time. He's not in there for 6 months or a year. He's going to want decent entries into Bitcoin. It would be very surprised me if they came in, because what are the rest of the smart money and institutions and funds going to do if America go and put 20 billion into BTC, and we know that maybe there's not going to be another payment for another year? Everybody's going to take profits and we had a good cycle, guys. We're up like 5-6x. I've made millions and millions, and I'm taking some profits, right? They're not stupid. And hey, are they going to DCA in up here, DCA in all the way down? Possibly. But I still think that they are going to have a bear market accumulation strategy. I don't think they're going to have let's buy the top strategy. I think they're going to have a DCA into the bear market. Hey, maybe it takes so long for this strategic reserve to get approved that we are already in the start of a bear market when it starts to get approved, and they buy, and then we have corrections, and they buy, and we have corrections, and then eventually we find some kind of floor. And then I believe we're going to have one of the most epic BTC rallies that we've ever seen, because what have we seen in the markets? They have just approved the banks, the ability to custody Bitcoin. The banks can now get into Bitcoin, guys. And when the banks get in, we're going to have serious inflows. Now, these people, including bankers and TradFi funds, they are some of the smartest people, and they love discounts, and they understand market cycles. They understand bull markets, bear markets. They understand recessionary data. They are going to load up in the bear market. And if you've been sitting on the side as a bank, do you want the price to keep going up right now? So the last thing you want, right? You want a massive crash. You want the biggest crash possible, because America are going to start accumulating. All these other countries are going to start accumulating. And this could be one of the most insane rallies, depending on how much we pull back, that we see when the banks start to accumulate and more governments start to accumulate. I don't see, this is where we are right now, right? This is where the smart money we're accumulating. This is where all the funds we're accumulating. This is where we are right now. And Nvidia is up here, and Solana is up here. So many tokens have gone absolutely wild. I just don't see them buying here and buying here and buying here, right? I just see there being some sort of a correction or crash. And the $20 billion isn't that much. It's a lot of money, but I mean, in a scale of things, it's still less than Michael Saylor's put in the last 2 years. He put a lot more in. He put like $28 billion in the last 2 years. So it's not what it seems, this strategic reserve. We're not going to potentially see as much. We might not even see 20 billion. We might just see 10 billion. And if that's the case, then Michael Saylor put in 3 times the amount that the US government put in. So yeah, something's taken into consideration. As you go into the end of the bull run, A lot of people are saying, how are you going to sell when there's a strategic reserve coming? Well, do you understand what's actually going on with this strategic reserve? Do you know how long it's going to take to get approved? Do you know how much they're planning to accumulate? Because if it's 5 billion, it's going to be FUD, right? If it gets rejected by the courts and they say, hey, look, it's too risky, we want to just put 5 billion in or 7 billion, that's FUD, right? That's actually going to pull the market down if that comes, because everyone's had this big hope for a massive strategic reserve inflows. And even if America put in 5 billion, you're barely going to see it on the charts, right? Especially if the price is sitting around 105k. Yes, you're going to see some sort of impact, but it's not going to be enough to move it that much, right? It's not going to go up 50%. So it's very interesting. I mean, look, America accumulating Bitcoin is a massive movement. It's the start of something special. It's the start of a global adoption. It's the start of countries buying in. These guys are smart, right? Don't underestimate them, guys. They're not going to go and give you exit liquidity so you can dump your bags, right, and pay out your long positions. They want the market to dump. Everybody who's not in and has been sitting on the sidelines, including the banks, they want the biggest dump possible. And don't underestimate their abilities to create FUD, to manipulate. And I think we are going to see a very big surprise over the next few years. I'm so excited for the next bear market, because if we've got governments and banks accumulating, the risk is just reduced so much. Again, guys, nothing in this video is financial advice. This is just my own opinion. This is just my strategy. This is just what I'm doing. If you don't want to miss out on these videos, click the like button, hit the subscribe button below. If you want to join my Discord, there's a free Discord link below. You can jump in there, and if you want to level up, you can see all the links to level up inside the Discord. I am in some short positions on altcoins. I haven't taken my major short positions because I'm waiting for us to break trend line. I think when we break the bull run trend line, just as we did last cycle, I think that's when the major crash is going to start. And the trend is your friend until the end. We haven't broke that trend line. I have seen loads of red flags on chain that we are getting close to the end of this cycle. So I have DCA'd out some profits all the way up, as you know, but we haven't broke that key trend line. And when we do, I think the sell-off is going to be extremely fast and drastic. And let's hope that the ETF, sorry, not the ETF, let's hope that the reserve gets approved, right? It might not get approved. I think it will, because we've got people like Cynthia in, Trump, RFK, Elon. There's a lot of people in very powerful positions that can help this, help this go through. And maybe it's more, right? Let's play devil's advocate. Maybe it's more than 20 billion. The number you go with initially is normally your high-end targets get approved, right? That number was there for a reason. And normally you go a lot higher than what you think is going to get approved. So then you barter and negotiate. So it's probably going to be 10. I'd imagine it'll be 10 billion. They'll meet halfway and it'll be 10 billion per year. It's still good. It's still good. It's just going to be a little bit underwhelming for what we expect. That's it for now, guys. Until then, I'll catch you in the next one.